And you don't play those strings separately, you play them at the same time. And so you get this you get a more like resonant sound. It gets, yeah, you hear more overtone basically. And the way oud players, they don't play with their fingers unlike classical guitarists. They play more like folk guitarists or something like that with a pick, but they play with a really long pick called a risha, which you hold in your hand like this. And then one of the most popular techniques in the oud is tremolo, where you play the strings really fast, so it sounds like. But also, they oud players. The difference between a good oud player and a bad oud player is how they can vary their picking patterns. So, like an oud player who can only do up and down strokes is not as good as an oud player who can do down up strokes. So, like oud player who can only do this is not as good as an oud player who can do this. Because you can actually hear the difference between an upstroke and a downstroke. Like, can you hear it? So, like, you have downstroke and upstroke. Hear the difference? There's a bit of an softer sound to the upstroke. So now the piece I'm going to be playing is not from Morocco, but it's from Turkey. But a lot of their music is actually very similar because they all were, for a long period of time, were ruled by the same ruler. Because basically the region was called the House of Islam, because they were actually like a giant country on their own, an empire. So a lot of music is very similar. So the piece I'm going to play is called Longa Farafaza. And the scale sounds like this. And their scale, they call their scales maqam. They don't call them scales actually. So, but now here, without further ado, Longa Farafaza. changes. I practice less than I should, but it tends to average on a day at least 3 hours.
3 hours.
Yes?
Was it hard to learn?
The oud? Well, it's relative. Basically, if you know how to play guitar, it's easier to learn because, one, the spacing is different. And so the hardest part of learning it is learning how to hear the notes, because the oud, unlike guitar, is fretless. It has no frets, so you have to do everything by ear. Because in Middle Eastern music, they have something called quarter tones, which is basically notes in between notes. And so that's kind of the hardest part, but if you have a good idea of music already and you play guitar, it's not that hard. Yes?
What is your favorite guitar?
Like, my favorite guitar to play?
Like, what is your favorite one to play?
Favorite song?
No, like, which one do you
Oh, which one do I like better? Oh, guitar. But it's really hard to like decide which one I like better because I like them pretty equally. So,
I have a question for you. You guys, in the older group, they learned one scale, right? So you guys heard them introduce that scale, and we were talking about improvising. Do you have any tricks once you learn the scale? Because they're just starting out.
right.
How, after you have the scale, how would you?
Right, improvise, like make stuff up. That's a really good question. It's hard to like, one, you have to not be afraid of sounding goofy sometimes. Like, if something sounds goofy, it's like fine, because you're not gonna get anything good if you don't try. So like, you have like I'm assuming it was major scale.
Is there a scale? It's
Was it this one?
no, it's not major. It's
Minor?
So, do you know what it's
Tonic?
it's I don't know. It's not a. I don't know which scale it is. But you could show us on like a major scale.
Okay, so like here, scale like better is minor scale actually. So this one, it sounds like this. The scale sounds like this. Now you can just start by playing the scale up and down over and over again. Just like get really comfortable with it first before you like do anything, and then you just like play the scale in different ways. Like you play it like skipping notes. So like, play first note, skip the second note, go to third note, and then go back down to the second note, skip. And like do stuff like that, and you'll start hearing cool stuff. Like basically, it's called a sequence in music when you repeat a pattern. So you can like in a scale motion, and so you can just like start like I said, 2 notes and then group 3. And that's actually, if you listen to any like guitar solos or something, like in a rock song, a lot of times they're playing a scale in just a different way. Like, you'll hear like, even like what type of music do you guys like? Like any kind? Like, do you guys ever listen to like classic rock? Yeah, okay, there you go. So like, almost all those dudes, they like are totally just like playing scales in creative ways. I mean, like, I can't give you an example right now because I don't know.
No, I think that's good because they learn the scale, and of course he's going much faster. But those are good ideas for you guys just to skip around a little bit, and don't be afraid to sound goofy. That's the best advice.
I love that.
Right?
That's the best.
So thank you so much. And Corman is going to play for your parents. You know, when they drop you off, hopefully he'll be there, and he's going to play a little bit for us on Thursday night. So that'll be really nice. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Alright, that was fun.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Miss Veccione, do you